We've got a grab bag show for you here today. Mostly it's this delayed Superbooth report where I want to share some of my picks for best of show. I might as well also share some of the changes I'm making into my own case as a result of my trip to Superbooth. And I want to give you an update on the Nord Drum 3P video series. And finally, I want to tell you about a live performance series we have here in the Bay Area called Future Perfect and let you know how you can get involved if that's the sort of thing you're into. Superbooth was mid-May. If you haven't been, it's Nerd Nirvana. It's in Berlin, which is already a great place for electronic music and musicians. The event is set in a bucolic children's park. So rather than stomping around a convention center with fluorescent lighting and laminated flooring, you're stomping around a frog sanctuary. The live performances are many and excellent, and standout performances for me included a live set from Maidon and also one from Dasha Rush. The food was good, and there were lots of veggie options, and last year beer was a little touch and go, but it was flowing freely this year according to the folks who track these sorts of things. And as usual, the vibes were immaculate. In addition to the formal performance schedule, there were also many events put on external to the main Superbooth event. The Berlin Modular Society has a series they put on in a parking garage that's turned into a beer garden. Standout performances from that one included the representative from Shackmat Modular, who did a really killer, inspiring, high-energy techno set. Very innovative, very live feeling. And also YouTube's Cuckoo, who played a really fun set. We'll talk more about Shackmat later. The annual event at Ohm, put on by Jack Noise or Jackie Noise, was great and featured, among other folks, Mark Verbose, who played obviously using Verbose modules, which sounded amazing. And he's a very talented techno performer. There was a Dare to Create event at Berghain and at the former location of Schneidersladen, which is now the Berlin Synth Museum. I got to see a solo performance of just a Syncussion SY1 perform for about 45 minutes, which isn't the sort of thing you get to do every day. In terms of standout new releases at Superbooth, since I have a techno focus here, for me, both of the standouts were drum synthesizers. First, Vermona had a prototype of their drumDing, which you could hear and play with. For me, it represented an innovation in workflow and a combination of a number of really good ideas into a single package. So my pick for Superbooth Best of Show is the Vermona drumDing. It's a single Vermona analog percussion synthesizer voice, and then it's connected to a first-class sequencer and a sampler. In my opinion, although it looks like the Vermona DRM, I think it sounds a lot better than the Vermona DRM. I honestly don't know what's different, but it had more kind of a useful, familiar 808 sound. And I also thought it sounds better than the rhythm. The workflow is you sequence the analog voice until you get the sound you want. You could optionally do this live or in cue to your headphones. So if you have a beat going, maybe you want to mix in a new sound, you can set it in cue and figure it out on the synthesizer and sequence it, and then hit one button. It gets sampled over to a sequencer slot and a sample slot, and then kicks over from playing the audio from the analog synth to playing the sampled sequenced track. It's really fast, and it's really easy to use, and it sounds great. You can record up to 16 samples into a project, which for me is actually kind of a limitation. I think it probably would be for a lot of people. But the sequencer supports parameter locking and sample locking, so you can have one lane switch among the many different samples. In the lane, you also have an A sound and a B sound, so you could have like a kick with like a clap vibe, or you could have, a hard hit and a soft hit, open hat, close hat. I could definitely see a live set where you build from scratch with no sounds and just create sounds as you go. If you think of that performance video where Erica's codec is showing off the Percon's drum machine with that sort of continuous evolution, I could imagine a live set like that using the Vermona drumDing. Each voice gets 2 delays and a reverb. It's actually not clear to me if each voice has individual delays and a reverb or if they're sends. I'm kind of hoping they're sends because that means it would free up some performance capacity for other features, but I'm just not sure. They also have a saturation, bit crush, and then the usual LFO, filter, envelopes, etc. on each lane. One innovation of the drumDing that I haven't seen before is that the faceplate is actually removable. It's a piece of metal that's held on by magnets, and so when they add features, rather than having to memorize the new shift functions or wherever the feature signature is moved to on the faceplate, you can actually just get a new faceplate, or I imagine print one out. The demo they showed doesn't have performance effects on the main channel yet, although they're considering it, but they're concerned maybe there isn't enough performance capacity on board. Since we were talking, in lieu of performance effects, I suggested that maybe they try macro knobs like we have on the Force here. So instead of maybe a main channel saturation, maybe you assign each of the individual saturations to a macro knob, and then you'd have sort of the same functionality. So we can look for that when it comes out and see what they decided to do. In terms of cons for the drumDing, there's only 16 samples, and the competition is 128 samples, and I can see how that would be really limiting for a live set. You'd either have to be composing as you go, or limited to 16 samples, or stopping your project and reloading in the middle of a gig, which, is pretty complicated. Another con, my guess is it's not going to be cheap. But we'll know more, I believe, by the end of the year. For my part, I'm not sure if this will be a drum machine I end up owning or not. It sounds great, and it looks like it's a lot of fun to play. It's flexible, and the sequencer is very powerful. On the other hand, the 16 samples limitation is a bummer for me, and I'd really like to see a main channel effect strip for compression, saturation, and EQ, etc. I'm going to keep an eye out for it, and even if I don't end up owning it myself, I would love to hear one live, and I'd love to see someone perform with it. Moving on to the other standout drum module for me, it was the Omicide Bohm, or Bomb. I'm not sure. It's probably however you would pronounce it in French. Omicide are known for their software distortion, which they've also offered in a eurorack format, and the Bohm is a stereo digital kick drum module, which is a group of words that should never all be in the same sentence. I'll explain the stereo thing in a bit, though. Highlights in the evolution of kick drums for eurorack, from my perspective, start with the Jomox, with its 909 style kick that could be configured for a more woody sound, for maybe a housey vibe. It also had a built-in EQ and a very useful mild saturation that was just lovely. The BIA came along and took a much more hard approach to making kick drums, and that thing will just shake a PA no matter how you use it, really. And then the Nobula Kick-Ain came out and added a side chain and another very 909 style, very hard kick drum. But the side chain and the ducking feature is something we're going to see on the Omicide Bomb as well. Finally, the Shackmat battering ram seems to be the kick that you're seeing in most of your techno cases nowadays. It doesn't take up a ton of HP. It just sounds really good. It hits really hard, and the sounds it make are all pretty useful. For my purposes, I think that the Omicide Bomb is going to take its place in the continuum of these kick drum modules here. Bohm currently has 9 modeled kicks. You can switch between them without glitching because they wait for the current sound to stop playing before the new algorithm is loaded. That's a pretty good trick. Even the Percons here has little glitches in between. Percons module, rather, has little glitches when you try to change the program. My understanding is that it's not limited to 9 algorithms, and that designing new sounds involves a development toolkit, which is maybe a little too complicated to distribute to end users like you and me, but they might be able to work with known performers, live artists, and producers to develop custom signature sounds for each of those producers and then make them available to end users. I think that's pretty innovating as kick drums go, and pretty exciting to watch what's going to happen there. The Bohm module has 9 knobs and an encoder. In addition to the usual decay and pitch, the knobs offer color tweaks that are all sweet spot from one end to the other, including tweaks on insert effects, such as high pass and saturation. Listening to it at Superbooth, the range of sounds are wide and useful and good and have a great tone with plenty of low end. The encoder lets you change algorithms, configure the effects, load and save patches. There are 2 optional expanders for the Bomb. One is a sidechain module. You plug your stereo mix into the sidechain module, and it's routed through the back into the main kick drum module, and then it's ducked to the kick drum, and then the whole mix is sent out through the stereo outs of the main module. You have a control for the ducking amount and volume on the expander module. The second expander module is a digital delay that creates a techno rumble. It's got 2 delay taps. You can bring them in and out. You can set the delay time and then tweak the sound of the rumble. You can create either a clean trance bounce or like a very foggy, smudgy rumble with a ton of tone control, or anything in between. The Bohm Suite is a live set all on its own, and speaking with Omicide at Superbooth, they did mention that US distribution is complicated by the tariff story that's ongoing, but looking around, it looks like they might be available, the modules might be available in the US in July. The main module is around $400. The ducker, I think, is between $100 and $150, and if I recall correctly, the delay is between $150 and $200. In terms of pros and cons, the sound sound is great, it's versatile, it's all sweet spot. The performance options are fun and dynamic, and the choice of expanders is smart and innovative. On the other hand, they're sadly not giving them away for free, and if you go with the whole suite, you're looking at a fair amount of HP. For what it's worth, I put an order in for the Bohm main module, but I'm holding off on the expanders right now. In other ways Superbooth spent my money, I picked up a Schlappy Engineering 3 body. After hearing a demo at Superbooth, I knew I had to make it mine. They had it set up on a moving drone patch that was really amazing. I have had the module for 3 weeks. I've never heard that patch again and probably never will. However, I did find a way to make that module the center of my current live set, so all is not lost. Given the price and size of the 3 body, it's really got a punch above its weight, and I think it does. Most of the demos online are kind of wild. For my part, I'm using it as an acid set of voices by running it through low-pass gates and being judicious and moderate about modulation amounts, and so it's a lot more useful for me. I'm not looking for sine waves, but sometimes the FM gets really out of control. It's got 3 different oscillators with different waveform outputs. So you can pull tones out of the 2 modulation oscillators as well as out of the carrier, and you have sine and then they call it a cosine, so it's like a phase shifted waveform, and then square waves, saw waves, reverse saw. The addition of the 3 body to my case has caused a cascade of modules moving out of my case and into consignment at the local synth shop. Speaking of consignments, I'm also selling my MPC Live, which used to be there. With the latest OS updates to the Live, the features and workflow are merging with the Akai Force, which I still love and isn't going anywhere. My guess is that Akai will release a mini MPC someday this year, and maybe I'll get back in the MPC game at some point. It'd be great to have a very portable version of my live set where I could compose on Force but play live on a very portable MPC, so I'm paying attention to what's going on there. While we're talking about buy, sell, trade, I'm sad to report that I'm in the midst of a shady Facebook module purchase. I believe I'll be protected by the goods and services feature of the payment mechanism, but it's still disappointing when the shady comes from within inside the community. On the Nord-Drum news, the Nord-Drum 3P went out for surgery and came back a slimmer, more functional model. My buddy Jeff did the work, and he plans to post the 3D printer files online so you can do the same. We removed the drum pads, which came off all in one metal plate. Then Jeff scanned the back and the bottom and printed this single 3D printed plastic piece and then installed these 6 trigger jacks here. So the jacks take the place of the pads for eurorack purposes. Some folks on the Nord-Drum Facebook group were concerned that maybe the dynamic functionality of the Nord-Drum, where you hit the pad harder and the sound is more than just louder, it also changes the characteristic of the sound. Some folks were concerned that that would be lost, but I can tell you that if you use a attenuator in here or change the, a VCA to change the strength of the trigger coming into the Nord-Drum, it works just fine. No real word yet on longevity. I'll let you know if it breaks, but so far I'm very happy. It sounds good and it's much more easier to use and portable. Finally, if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, we've started a new monthly live event called Future Perfect. You can look for us on Instagram at Future Perfect _SF. The event usually features 5 live electronic acts. We open with 3 20-minute sets for folks who are just trying out ideas or getting a feel for playing live or who have an experimental set. And then we have 2 longer 30 to 45-minute slots to close the night. Typically, we have a different DJ playing in between the live sets each month, although we may mess around with that a little bit, and I'm thinking about collecting tracks from local musicians and playing them on a playlist in between acts. And we're also thinking about bringing out a modular case and just having it do some sort of self-generative ambient thing in between the acts for one of the events. That latter one really depends on whether I can get that patch back on the 3 body or not. We want to play around with different themes for the event, maybe feature local hardware manufacturers. We have some local module manufacturers in addition to traditional synthesizer manufacturers here in the Bay Area. We also have a ton of super talented iOS developers, so maybe we'll have an iOS music night. We'll see how that comes along as the event progresses. Folks just submit to play over Instagram, and we try to get everybody on the schedule eventually, even though I do what I can to make the lineups make sense. So maybe not this month, maybe next month, maybe that kind of thing. We also want to make it possible for folks who are visiting San Francisco to come out and play as well. So look us up on Instagram, submit a mix, just get in touch, and we'll see how the schedule works out. Future Perfect is at Knock Knock on Haight Street. It's free to attend. It's on Sunday nights near the end of each month, and it runs from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, so we don't keep you out too late. That's it for the updates. Thanks for watching.